Hello. So it's it's the 1 year anniversary of Labour. Who's popping the corks, getting the bunting out? No one. I think it's very interesting, and Keir Starmer talked about reflection. I mean, I feel like I ought to show him what a mirror is and actually what reflection means, and you actually look at yourself and think about how you've done things, how you might want to do them differently, what the impact they were on other people. I don't think he knows the meaning of the word reflection. I don't even know if he has a reflection, does he? I'm not being flippant. Well, I am a bit. But it's certainly not a year for celebrating, and he said he's not celebrating, and about that is the understatement of the year. It's a time for thinking, holy moly, how are we going to get out of this crap? What next? What is going to happen next? I mean, we're told that there's going to be another lawsuit against Rachel Reeves. So we've had the VAT on education one, and now we may well have one from farmers. And it's really interesting. The VAT on education one said that morally she was absolutely wrong to do what she'd done. It said morally it doesn't stand up. Legally, sadly, you can put VAT on education. I mean, no idiot does. I think Nigeria are the last ones that have just scrapped that one. Did somebody say New Zealand does? But, find me the successful countries which have got VAT on education. It'll take you less than a second. So there was that court case, and I wonder how much taxpayer money that cost. And then we've possibly got the farmers one. The WASPI women continues. The pensioners didn't need to go to court, don't need to as yet, but of course we've got to see what that U-turn actually looks like. And so it goes on. It's just disaster after disaster after disaster, and mainly because they wrote all of their policies on the back of a playing card and said that'll work, it'll get us in. And what we're seeing is the U-turn on the actual policies, but also U-turn on parts of the policy. I mean, today's news in Schools Week, so you remember the education manifesto was that there was going to be 6,500 shiny new teachers. And I think at the time I said, well, that's basically an arm or a leg per school. That doesn't even go round. Well, it turns out that it's not even going to be 6,500 teachers. Bridget lied. Shock me. She said last spring, Labour made recruiting 6,500 new teachers in key subjects one of its 6 first steps for change. This is in Schools Week. Experts said this should be fulfilled by boosting recruitment and retaining more teachers. Phillipson pledged in November last year they would all be new teachers. However, the government has now confirmed that the target would look at how much the workforce has grown overall rather than just new recruits. It will only apply to secondary and college teachers. And it goes on to talk about, this basic lie. By the way, I've been asked to go on a podcast about VAT on education with somebody quite prominent. So we look forward to that. I'm very excited to be sitting in the chair and being asked the questions, and I will absolutely be answering them and my thoughts on VAT on education and education as a whole. But when the Education Secretary is responsible for a rise in schools closing, so 67% more schools have closed under her watch in a year than did with the Tories. So, I mean, I think that says it all, doesn't it? So it's been a year of lies. It's been a year of gaslighting. It's been a year of turning the other cheek. One thing that I've noticed, it's been a year of sneering and snide comments and snide reactions at the misfortune of others by the Labour Party. They very much show what their moral fibre is. It's certainly not one that I would like to have as one of my 5 a day. I think we've seen Labour in their true colours. I mean, to the point where now Jeremy Corbyn is setting up his own party. There's a lot of people going, he's not as bad as Starmer. Now, we never thought we'd say that, did we? But no, Jeremy Corbyn has appeared to gone up in the opinion polls as Keir Starmer goes further and further down. I mean, what I will say is what Keir Starmer has done for politics is good news for the opposition, because they are now actually looking relatively decent. And again, we never thought we were going to say that, did we? But we are. So it's the end of what I would call an absolute cluster of a political year. I dislike certainly the top 5 more than I ever thought I could. And you get to a point where, I always try and see the good in people. I always try and say, well, there might be a reason. And, we've got to look past that. Not able to do it. Absolutely not able to do it. I see a prominent front bench of bitter twisted, sad individuals who feel like they want to right the wrongs of their life by experimenting on you and me. They've got an axe to grind. And just to put it in perspective, after Rachel's tears and her personal problem, there's quite a lot of stuff on social media asking where Rachel's money is, where her personal wealth is. And whether this is true or whether it is not, there's a lot of chat about it being offshore. And somebody said to me, well, there's no rule to say that you can't have your money offshore. And I'm like, yeah, if you're the Chancellor of the Exchequer and you are taxing the living shit out of the rest of us, but you're putting your wealth, we'd be glad to have some wealth to put offshore. You're putting your wealth offshore. Whether that's true or whether that's not true, I'd really like to see Rachel Reeves and the full front bench be very open about their wealth. I would like to see them say that, just so that we can put to bed for once and for all this working people crap, because they simply don't know what a working person is. They haven't got any clue. And, Rachel's chat about I went to a state school, I'm state educated. Let's not be thinking that was a really bad state school and she grew up in a really bad area with her head teacher parents. Let's not be thinking that. That's not the truth. These people have an awful lot to say and almost nothing to back it up with. So that would be my final analysis of the first year of Labour. I'm hoping for a vote of no confidence. I'm hoping that they will be out. It's a little bit like every year. I hope that the Father Christmas will give me a lottery win and a turkey that cooks in less than 12 hours. But you can't have everything in life, can you? So I leave you on that note. We've done a year. Let's hope we haven't got to do any more.